Are you following Super Rugby Pacific? Stick around, I'll share my insights for round 11 and I'll point out who's made huge moves on the table as teams start to jostle for position for the finals. Hey everyone, it's Coach H here and you've found Inspired by Union, a channel where I discuss Southern Hemisphere rugby. Let's dive right in. So week 11 done and dusted of Super Rugby Pacific. Apologies for the background ambient noise in this video. Noisy village life here in Bangkok. I spent a day at the Sevens on Saturday in Singapore, so this video is coming out a little bit later than usual. I'll also touch on the Sevens experience as well. Really well done by the Sevens circuit. So let's get into it. My match of the round, Moana Pacifica versus the Highlanders. Nuku'alofa put on a absolutely wet day for the Super Rugby Pacific game. I will say the field held up great, so the groundsmen, you guys done an absolutely great job that the field was able to hold up in the conditions that the players faced. So who took ascendancy and the most out of this game? Well, it was the visiting Southern men, the Highlanders and Moana, really, to be fair. Both did as well as they could in the conditions. The ball skills were generally very good. If there was turnover ball, it was ball under contact that you'd often see a ball spill forward or a reset in play. Anisi was a handful for the home side, whilst William Havili was super busy throughout. For the Highlanders, Ratumai Tavuki Nedkins was kept busy in his role as the custodian as multiple kicks went his way. Really, it was the Highlanders forwards that got the job done in this one, as they were able to outmuscle the Moana side and set up opportunities for their backs. Highlanders 28, Moana Pacifica 17. Hurricanes versus the Waratahs. Well, the Hurricanes, after suffering their first defeat, many fans were questioning whether they had the ability to bounce back. This was answered in emphatic fashion, really, and the Hurricanes forwards rolled up their sleeves, got to work early. Braden Iyose proving a handful for Waratahs defenders throughout. It was clear for the Waratahs that their effort areas were there. They just couldn't handle the step up as the Hurricanes went to another level and unleashed after obviously being some soul searching through the week. For Waratahs fans, it was clear to see the effort was there, the endeavour was there, but they just couldn't handle the step up and talent from this motivated Hurricanes outfit. Whilst the Waratahs are now slumped at 11th on the ladder, it's looking forward for the Hurricanes as they start to plot out how they will approach the final series. Hurricanes do it easy in a clinical performance by 41-12. Melbourne Rebels versus the Blues. The Blues hit the ground running. Their only concern after this encounter will be the fitness of Reiko Ioane, who looked in all sorts of trouble as he lay prone on the ground following a head collision. Mark Talea enacted freak mode. His stats certainly impressive on the night, once again looking busy with the ball and an absolute threat, causing menace for Rebels defenders at will. The Rebels, meanwhile, despite a couple of losses on the trot, now 6th place. They've got that magic 5 wins plus bonus points. They look certain to remain in the finals picture. The Blues will now have one eye fixed towards this weekend as they prepare to take on the Hurricanes. The Blues did it easy, really, by 38-11. Crusaders versus the Reds. Well, the Reds would need to create history, really, with wins few and far between in Christchurch, but history was made. Following on from his 3-try effort last week, the Junkyard Dog got busy, added another 2. Injuries really haven't been kind to the Crusaders this year. Their depth has been tested. Barrett's out again. Will this have an implication on the All Blacks season with this back injury? Not too much information as yet. The Reds, they were fantastic. They got themselves out to an early lead to add some scoreboard pressure, made the Crusaders chase this one. After last week's agonising loss against the Blues, the Queenslanders super stoked with how this performance gets them a win. For Crusaders fans, the viewing was all too familiar, not quite on point at set piece, a case of the fumbles throughout. Look, honestly, my predictions have been pretty shocking, but without Barrett on board, I can't see the Crusaders playing finals football this year. Here, you've heard it first, I'm writing them off. The Queenslanders, a deserved win by 33-28. The Chiefs versus the Force. Well, any opening batsman would be happy to get a half century, and that's exactly what the Chiefs put on the Force, who were woeful in their second game in a row in New Zealand. The only concern for the Chiefs really will be an injury to Sami Penny-Finau. Also, Damian McKenzie will go under rest protocol for failing his concussion test. He probably wasn't going to play this week against the Moana in any case. Plenty of players put their hands up in this encounter for the Chiefs. Daniel Rona, superb on the wing as he scored a hat-trick. The Force will trudge back to Australia. They'll be wanting to put this Kiwi road trip behind them. The Chiefs with a case of too easy Campese, 56-7. Brumbies versus the Drua. The Brumbies pack getting decimated and shifted off the ball in a scrum, not something you often see, but the Drua done a hit job here in this department. This was a tight tussle for the Brumbies side that has ambitions to go deep into the final series, and a brace by Wallabies midfielder Len Ekitau certainly helped them as they were able to secure a hard-fought victory. The Drua, despite being on the wrong side of the scoring ledger, were actually pretty impressive this week. If they can have these types of performances against the top tier sides, they are looking at a bright future ahead. The Brumbies, with ambitions on a home semi-final, really had to work for this one, 28-20. As I mentioned earlier in the piece, I actually had the opportunity to spend the Saturday session at the National Stadium in Singapore as teams on the Seventh Circuit went about their business. But the product really was quite fantastic. It's amazing to see that Argentina and Ireland are 1 and 2 in the world now in the men's comp. In terms of the women's, probably Australia and New Zealand clearly a step above the rest of the competition. However, the more that the ladies and the lesser teams get to play, the more they're going to start to close that gap. So World Rugby, well done for giving the females more tournaments to play in. The match of the session from the Saturday for me was definitely the golden point game between the Australian men's and the South African men's side. Absolute quality finish by the South Africans to force golden point. However, Australia persevered. South Africa down a player with a yellow. Australia totally ruthless, straight away from the tap penalty, set piece to score. The eventual winners of this circuit, both the New Zealand sides in the men's and the women's, 2 months out from the Olympics. All teams are starting to jostle and experiment with their playing rosters. So certainly looking forward to the 7th circuit that's going to culminate with an Olympic gold medal for 2 lucky sides on either sides of the men's and the women's draw. I'm Coach H, and you've been watching Inspired by Union.